Greetings viewers, JLB here, back with a brand new video, but this might be the last video in a little while, because I'm going to be heading on a bit of a 1 week road trip, a little over a week. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the topic of this video, the third compilation film of the 6 compilation films that Disney made. What a compilation film is basically different unrelated stories combined together by one theme. And the 8th overall Disney animated feature, Make Mine Music. Now, the film actually has 10 different shorts in it, 10 different segments. It starts off with Blue Bayou, which was originally intended for Fantasia, but with the song Clair de Lune in it, but they changed the name to the song Blue Bayou, and had the Ken Darby singers perform it. The segment that follows is personally one of my favorites. All the cats join in, because you actually get to see the segment get drawn in and animated before your very eyes. It's one of 2 sections where Benny Goodman and his orchestra actually came in, and it portrays teens in the 1940s being swept up in pop music at the malt shop. Of course, it was edited for US release, but in Japan, it was left alone. Nothing more to say about it. The next segment follows Without You, which is a ballad about lost love, sung by Andy Russell. Then you got Casey at the Bat, which is a reciting of the poem of the same name by Ernest Thayer, which basically shows, well, if you're a baseball historian, you might know the story of Casey. The next segment that follows is a pretty interesting one because it featured 2 rotoscope live-action dancers, Dave Lucchine and Tanya... Am I getting this right? Tanya Ryabochinskaya. I think that's how you say it. And for any Russian viewers out there, I apologize profusely for absolutely butchering that last name. Anyway, the segment basically shows the silhouettes of the two dancers on screen. The segment that follows is Peter and the Wolf, which is an animated dramatization of the 1936 musical composition by Sergei Prokofiev, with narration by Disney legend Sterling Holloway. The segment that follows is called After You Gone, which features Benny Goodman again and stars 6 anthropomorphic instruments, a piano, a bass, snare drum, bass drum, cymbal, and clarinet, all parading through a surreal musical background. The segment following that is called Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet. It's a bit of a romance story about 2 hats that fall in love at a department store. But after Alice gets sold, Johnny devotes his entire existence to trying to find her again. Actually, now that I think about it, there's only 9 segments. There's only 9 segments to Make Mine Music. And the final segment, that final 9th segment, is probably one of the most intriguing. It's called The Whale Who Wanted to Sing at the Met. It's basically a bittersweet story about a sperm whale named Willie who dreams of singing at the Metropolitan Opera in New York City. And all the voice acting for all the characters is done by one guy. A fellow by the name of Nelson Eddy. He sang all of the segments in the entire film. Sort of like what Bing Crosby would do years later in The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, but we'll get to that. So that was Make My Music. Was it a good enough film? Well, actually, I haven't really seen it, but I did see some of the segments. Specifically, all the cats join in. And personally, from that one segment alone, I can say this is a pretty good film. Especially if you're into music and you're a fan of Fantasia. Because, oddly enough, Disney tried to make a sequel to Fantasia, but they couldn't really do it until years later. So this is basically a reimagining of Fantasia, if you think so. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all for my next review, and to quote Isaac from What's Up Videos, have a magical day.